أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على الحبيب المصطفى أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وأما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد وهو أصدق القائلين: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر، كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون، كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين لترون الجحيم ثم لترونها عين اليقين ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. Respected scholars, my elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just wanted to box off a couple of things and a couple of points from yesterday's lecture before we move on to today's lecture. After listening to yesterday's lecture, you would be within your rights to pose the question: are we, by challenging the various theories that are presented in front of us, like the theory of evolution and the Big Bang theory, by challenging some of the concepts within those theories, are we in the madhab of Ahlul Bayt, the followers of the Ahlul Bayt, are we in essence saying that we are against scientific progress? Do we have a fundamental problem with anybody who wants to study the relationship between time and space? How did space come to expand? How do the different planets and solar systems and galaxies work in harmony with each other? Do we have a fundamental problem with anybody who wants to study how is this universe functioning? The answer is no. Do we have a fundamental problem with anybody who wants to go and study the relationship and how perfectly each and every living organism is functioning within its habitat? And how they have evolved and managed to change various aspects of their genetics to adapt to new habitats? The answer is no. We in the madhab of Ahlul Bayt, and in fact in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourages us and pushes us towards space exploration. In chapter 54, Surah Al-Rahman, verse number 33, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala verbatimly is saying, يَا مَعْشَرَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ إِنِ اسْتَطَعْتُمْ أَن تَنْفُذُوا مِنْ أَقْطَارِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ فَانْفُذُوا. Allah saying, O community of jinns and O community of human beings, if you ever develop the ability and the capacity to punch through the skies, then go, do it. Go and explore and learn about the magnificence in Allah's creation in space. We in the madhab of Ahlul Bayt believe that the essence of all the good knowledge is the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salams themselves. We believe that if today we see the scientific progress and the advancement in technology, and in the future advancements that will happen, we believe that all this is indebted to the students and the graduates of the universities of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir and Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhimus salatu wassalam. Islam teaches us, and we teach our children to learn, to gain knowledge till the day they drop dead. We are the only community that you will find in existence today which encourages its youth and its children to ask. Have an inquisitive nature within you. Ask and ask and ask. Why? Because even though I might get asked a question that I do not know the answer to, the ulama and the ayatullahs may get asked a question which they do not know the answer to. But we are the only sect that believe that the custodian of the challenge of Saluni exists today. We are the believers in those imams who stood on the pulpits and challenged the world that ask whatever you want to ask, in whichever avenue of knowledge, in whichever language you want to ask. And nowhere in history would you find that our Imams fell short of answering those questions and those queries, in whichever language they were asked in. And so we find that we have no problems with people wanting to study with regards to space or study with regards to nature. We have a fundamental problem with this persistent insistence, especially from our scientific community, especially after witnessing the magnificence in Allah's creation, after seeing with the symphonic discipline within which the planets and the galaxies and the universe is dancing, after seeing this perfection and this order and law and order within the universe, to have the audacity and stand and say that all this is random, to stand and say that there is no planner, no designer, no initiator to this perfection, is utter nonsense. We have a problem with those who try and tell you that this is the origin of existence, and after seeing the perfection with which each and every living species functions within its own universe, within its own world, and at the same time is playing its part within this intertwined nature, the magnificence in nature, after seeing this perfection in each and every living species on earth, to stand and say that there is no wisdom behind any of this, that there exists no wise and omnipotent creator. This is utter ignorance. And we have a problem with ignorance. And this is why we try and protect ourselves and our children from this level of ignorance. And I know we probably didn't do justice yesterday in trying to quiz and try and challenge some of these theories, because the matter is a lot more complex than what it seemed yesterday. And if you are interested in learning a little bit more about this, I will guide you towards a book that was given to me as a gift last year. And initially I didn't think much of it, but as I began reading it, I became more and more interested. And the author, in a very simplistic English language, very well written book, very beautifully tries to strip away all the jargon and tries to make us understand in layman's terms. Because sometimes we are taken hostage by our fellow friends who bombard us with scientific jargon, that we succumb to our ignorance and fall short and fail our own selves in trying to convince and strengthen our beliefs, but also we fail our friends in trying to help them understand some realities, because they also have been brainwashed. And so this book, I believe, tries to uncover some of these realities and the essence behind some of these theories, but also shows the relationship between science and God, and how this relationship became sour over time. And if you're interested, go and pick up this book. The book's title is Seeing the Invisible God in Visible Nature. And it's written by Sayyid Qum Kamampuri, and it's translated and published by Dar al-Tabligh of MKSI Tanzania. And there is a website which I can bring to anybody who's interested that they give. And so inshallah, with these points, we are sealing yesterday's lecture. Yesterday we mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has showered countless blessings and bounties upon us. And the most valuable and most precious of all is this belief in Tawheed and the love of Muhammad and Al Muhammad that we carry within our hearts. Within His divine mercy, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also given us another bounty, and that is guidance. After creating us, which is the greatest mercy and blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, had He not brought us into existence, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about Him today. So after creating us, He took charge of our guidance. In the Quran, He tells us, وَإِنَّ عَلَيْنَا لَلْهُدَى. Guiding you is my responsibility. And I don't know how many of you remember, but 4 or 5 years ago, from this pulpit, we recited a ashra on guidance from the Quran. Allah takes personal charge of His guidance, of guiding us. Now, within this guidance, we see Him employing a rule or a maxim which you and I use as jokes between us, which is we save the best to last. But we find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala employs this rule with some of His blessings. For example, He has sent us 124,000 prophets. But when the need for the prophets was coming to an end, and He wanted to seal this journey of prophethood, He sent us the best of all prophets, Sayyidul Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen, as the seal of all prophets. Yes, not only the best of prophets, the best of His creation was brought to become the seal of all prophets. So He is the embodiment of all the prophets that have gone past. Now question, when I go into my grave, and I love the story of Nabiullah Ibrahim in the Quran, and I'm mesmerized by him. But when Munkar and Nakir ask me, Man Nabiyyuk, who is your prophet? Would it suffice if I said Ibrahim alayhi salam? You would say no. Why? Because the prophet of your time is Muhammad. And you are charged in believing in him. If you do not believe in it, part and parcel of believing in Muhammad is to believe in the prophethood and the truthfulness of the 124,000 minus one prophets that have come before him. But if you deny his prophethood and try and claim the prophethood of Isa, of Musa, of Ibrahim, then that testimony is invalid. Therefore, we understand that the seal of all the prophets becomes the embodiment of all those prophets. Believing in him is equivalent to believing and appreciating the work of all the predecessing prophets. Similarly, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed instructions, revelations to mankind, 315 revelations came to mankind. Amongst them were the documents or the sounds of Nuh, were the documents given to Ibrahim, the sounds of David, Zabur, Tawrat, the Old Testament, the New Testament. But when the journey of revelations was coming to an end, and now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to seal all divine revelations, He sent to us the best of Allah's books, the best of His books as the seal of all books. So when I go in my grave, and Munkar and Nakir asked me, what was the book of guidance that you referred to for guidance? If I said I did a PhD in the Old Testament, and I really like to follow that book, would that count? Would that suffice? The answer is no. Quran is the embodiment and the completion of all the messages that have come to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And believing in Quran and following the Quran is what we are charged with. Now, we said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us countless blessings. In the Quran, He says that if you were to enumerate the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will not be able to do so. Question: is there a blessing? Is there some sort of a blessing which embodies all the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That if I come to appreciate and fulfill my right towards that blessing, it would count as if I have fulfilled the right of Allah towards all the other blessings? Is there a seal to all the blessings which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us? Let us leave this question open and let us move on to the story and the journey of today. Chapter 102 of the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Takathur, is a very important chapter of the Holy Quran, and a very beautiful chapter, and a chapter that talks to each and every one of us individually. It's a one-to-one conversation between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah begins, Alhaakumut takathur. Excessiveness has made you heedless. Here, Ayatollah Makarim al-Shirazi in his Tafsir al-Amthal, which is also known as Tafsir al-Namuna in Urdu and in Persian, presents a very beautiful exegesis for this chapter. He says that at the time of the pagans of Makkah, they used to try and compete, each tribe used to try and compete with one another. And they will try and get one over the other tribe. So for example, they will count the wealth of this tribe, and the other tribe will say, we have 1 pound more than you guys, so we are better. We are more superior than you. There was a superiority complex amongst the tribes. They will count the population of this tribe and try and do one better. And try and say, we have more people in our tribe than you. And so on and so forth. They will find different avenues in which to compete, materialistic avenues. When they ran out of ideas, they would go to the graveyard and they would count the graves of their dead. And then go back and try and do one over the other tribe and say, we have more people buried than you have. And Amir al-Mu'mineen almost laughs at this concept in one of his sermons. He says that sorry, I feel sorry for those people who would go and count the bones to pride themselves on that, when that incident was more worthy of taking a lesson from. In other words, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, when you go to visit the grave, take lessons from those bones, that one day I'll be one of these bones. Instead of counting them, to go and score one more point over the other tribe. Now this is one of the reasons this chapter was revealed, to try and bring this idea to our hearts and minds. But let's bring this chapter to the 21st century today. How is this relevant to me in the 21st century? Alhaakumut takathur. Heedless has this excessiveness, running after excessiveness, made you. What are you saying, O Allah? Allah is saying, from the moment you open your eyes, O Hassanain, you are bang smack in the middle of this rat race. You are running that wheel day and night, trying to compete with other people, trying to score one more pound over your neighbors, trying to buy that better car over your brother, trying to buy that extra piece of property so that you look more favorable in the eyes of your community. This running after excessiveness has made you heedless of what follows. But if we contemplate on the word al-hakum, we find that it is a derivative of the word halaka. Allah is almost trying to wake us up. He wants to shake us and says, "Oh Hassanain, it is destroying you." Halaka means annihilation. Halak means annihilation. Allah is saying this running, this chasing after excessiveness is destroying you. Hatta zurtumul maqabir, until you visit the graveyards. Here there is a difference in tafasir. Some say it means we should increase in our visitation to the graveyard so that we take lessons and learn that this is our end. And all the wealth that I have amassed, all that it will be able to help me with is 2 pieces of white cloths. That's it. I will not take a penny more with me in the grave. I cannot pay with gold and silver and jewels Malakul Maut to give me an extra moment. I cannot pay my way out of the questioning in the grave. And so some Mufassirin say, Allah says, wake up. Visit the graves to help you wake up. In other tafasir, it says that you have become so heedless until finally you are struck with that moment that takes you to the grave. ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر كلا سوف تعلمون. Nay, you will indeed find out the truth. ثم كلا سوف تعلمون. Allah then re-emphasizes that no, you will indeed find out. Some Mufassirin say the first kalla is referring to barzakh, and the second kalla is referring to the day of resurrection. كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين لترون الجحيم. Only if you had acquired that knowledge which brought you to the level of conviction, you would see the fire of hell. The Urafa here take this verse and they say if anyone was able to transcend the levels of perfection to the level of yaqeen, they would be able to witness the punishments of the grave while they are still alive in this world. The ability is there. ثُمَّ لَتَرَوُنَّهَا عَيْنَ الْيَقِينِ. And then, on the day of judgment, Allah says, you will witness that fire of hell with these very eyes. Then, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. Allah says, then you will be stopped. And you will be asked about the blessings. Remember the journey we started. Is there a blessing that embodies all the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah says, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. On that day, we will all be held accountable for this life. How did we spend it? This wealth, how did we spend it? This health, how did we spend it? For any israf, for any excessiveness that we did not need, did we extravagantly live in this world? We will be held accountable. Abu Hanifa, Nu'man ibn Thabit, once came to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. And amongst a series of questions, one Imam was traveling to Iraq, and Imam had stopped at a particular place, and that's where different scholars came to visit him. Amongst them was Abu Hanifa. He came and he asked a series of questions, and it's a beautiful conversation where he asks, what is the meaning of Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy Anil Munkar? And Imam presents a very beautiful and a different meaning to what you and I are accustomed to. But within the series of questions, he asked, Imam, tell me, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala refer to when He says, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ? Oh, Ya ibn Rasulillah, what are these blessings that Allah is saying you will be questioned about on the day of judgment? Imam said to him, what is your opinion, O Nu'man? He says, oh Imam, my opinion is that we will be questioned about this peace and tranquility that we live in. We will be questioned about this cool water that we drink, about the food that we eat. Imam alayhi salam looked at him and he says, oh Abu Hanifa, if Allah on the day of judgment will sit and question you about every morsel of food that you have had in your lifetime, your questioning will take a very long time. In another gathering, the same question was asked to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, in which Imam alayhi salam replied that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is far more benevolent than to feed you with one hand and then to hold you accountable on the other hand for the food that He has fed you. He is far more gracious and benevolent for Him to do that. Imam then added, he said that this level, this basic level of etiquette, we would not expect from even one another. Imagine if you were to invite me to a meal. And after feeding me with biryani and gulab jamun, and I'm not trying to put ideas into your head, but afterwards, on me trying to ask for an exit, and I stand up to leave, you say, ha Hassanain, khado theek jo? Alhamdulillah, food was brilliant. He says, now, tell me, how many morsels of biryani did you have? How many pieces of gulab jamun did you have? This is preposterous. We would not expect this level of basic etiquette or lack of from one another. Yet we are saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been feeding me all my life, so that tomorrow on the day of judgment He will ask me how many morsels of food that you have had, O Hassanain. Yes, israf is another matter, but Allah is far more benevolent to say this. Then Yabna Rasulillah, Nu'man asks, what are these na'ims? What is this blessing that Allah is talking about? And here I want to open up in brackets and extrapolate what Imam is about to say. Imam, in other words, Imam here refers Abu Hanifa. He says, oh Abu Hanifa, these are my words, and Imam's, and we will end with Imam's words. Oh Abu Hanifa, this na'im is the same ni'mah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sealed His religion with. This is the same ni'mah which Allah revealed to His Prophet, where on Ghadir, when Rasulullah ascended the pulpit and he held the hand of Amir al-Mu'mineen and he said, Man kuntu mawla fahada aliyun mawla, Jibreel descended. At that time Jibreel came down and he brings the seal of this religion. He says, what does he say? Allah is saying, Al-yawma akmaltu lakum deenakum. Today, I have brought this religion of yours to fruition. وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي. And I have sealed my blessings upon you. Today, with the wilayah of Muhammad and Al Muhammad, this religion has come to completion. My blessings have come to us. My blessings upon you have been sealed. The wilayah of Ali ibn Abi Talib is the seal of all blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what did we say at the beginning? Allah seals His message or His blessings with the best of the best. Allah is sealing the blessings that He has showered upon us with the wilayah of Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Does Jibreel stop there? Does Allah stop there? No. Allah carries on. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. And it is this Islam that I am putting my seal of approval on. As your Lord, as your Creator, as the one who gave you this religion, I am sealing this religion of Islam. I'm putting my seal of approval on that Islam, which includes the wilayah of Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Allah is saying, this is the Islam that I am approving for you. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, O Aba Hanifa, An-Na'im wilayatuna Ahlul Bayt. O Aba Hanifa, that Na'im which Allah will question you about on the day of judgment, it is our wilayah, the wilayah of Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad and Al Muhammad. There were some other important arguments that I wanted to present. Inshallah, we will carry on from where we are leaving here tomorrow, inshallah. But as we have another 5 minutes or so, I want to build a platform for a discussion that will happen in a few nights' time. I want you to remember this seal of approval of Islam. Allah identifies the Islam that is approved in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Islam that was sealed with the wilayah of Ali ibn Abi Talib in Ghadir. Park this thought in your mind. In 60 Hijrah, a letter arrived in the final days of Rajab. A letter arrived to the governor of Medina, who was Walid ibn Utbah. From who? From the proclaimed Khalifa of the time. Door was knocked. Who is it? I am the messenger of Yazid, Khalifa. Khalifa Yazid. Open the door. Open the door. Here's a letter for you from Yazid. In the middle of the night, the letter arrives to the governor of Medina. He opens the letter. The letter reads that Muawiyah has gone to Jahannam. And Yazid has been appointed as Khalifa. As you receive my letter, immediately I want you to act upon the instructions within this letter. There are 5 personalities in Medina who must pay allegiance to Yazid. If one of them pays allegiance, if that particular person pays allegiance, and the other 4 don't, then don't worry. But if the other 4 do, and that one person doesn't, then it is not acceptable. And if all 5 refuse, then chop their heads off and send them to me. That one person is Hussein ibn Ali. The letter continues. On receiving this letter, I want you to call upon Hussein at this very moment in time, in whichever state he's in, and present him with this request or this order to pay allegiance to Yazid. Walid is baffled, so he calls upon Marwan ibn al-Hakam. This filth, the son of filth, was cursed by the tongue of Rasulullah even before he was born. Such is this person. Marwan was called. After mashwara, they decided to call upon Hussein ibn Ali at that very moment in time. They went looking for Imam al-Hussein, only to find him in Masjid al-Nabawi praying. They say, right now you have been summoned to the governor's palace. Imam said, it's the middle of the night. Come and grab me tomorrow. They said, no, we have been ordered to take you in whichever state that you're in. Imam alayhi salam says, okay, let's go and see what does Walid have to say. The news very quickly spread amongst the Hashemites that Imam has been taken to the governor's palace. And people had already seen the treachery of Muawiyah in the past. And so Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas rallied the troops, and immediately 19 members of the youth of Banu Hashim, with their swords unsheathed, followed Imam alayhi salam. Imam looked back and he says, Abbas, what are you doing? He says, Imam, we do not trust these Umayyads. And eventually Imam agreed with them that they will remain outside the palace, and only if the voice of Imam is raised will they enter to protect Imam. We are still within the topic about the religion of Islam that was sealed. I want you to keep that point in your mind. Imam enters, Walid presents the request, and you all know what happened. Marwan then says some very inappropriate words to Imam, and he says to Walid, right now chop Imam's head off, because you will not get this another opportunity. Behead him right now. Here Imam stood up and raised his voice and held him from his neck, and he said to him, who will kill me, you or him? Then Imam identified who he is and who Yazid is. Imam said, نحن أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة ومهبط الوحي ومختلف الملائكة بنا بدأ الله وبنا يختم. Oh Marwan, do you know who I am? We are the holy household of the Holy Prophet. We are the crown jewels of the religion of Allah. It is in our houses that wahi was revealed, that revelation came. Our doors are the stations for the ascension and descension of various angels. Allah begins with us and ends with us. وَيَزِيد شَارِبُ الْخَمْرِ قَاتِلُ النَّفْسِ الْمُحْتَرَمَةِ. And Yazid is that drunkard, adulterous, gambling, filth. وَمِثْلِي لَا يُبَايِعُ مِثْلَهُ. And Imam sets a precedence for all of us till the day of judgment. Someone like me, someone like Hussein, a Husseini, can never pay allegiance to someone like Yazid. Here, Banu Hashim came, they protected Imam and they took him away. The very next day, it so happens that Walid crossed paths with Imam alayhi salam. Here he said to Imam, he said, Ya Ibn Rasulillah, what have you come to think? What is your answer with regards to the proposal of yesterday? And before Imam could say anything, he says, can I offer you my advice? Marwan is the one who approached Imam. Marwan said, can I offer you my advice? Imam said, what is your advice, O Marwan? He said, my advice is that you take up Yazid's offer. Give him allegiance, and that would be better for the protection of your life and the life of your family. Here Imam said a word, which will form the basis for our discussion in a few nights' time. Imam says, على الإسلام السلام إذا ابتليت الأمة براع مثل يزيد ويحك يا مروان أتأمرني أن أبايع يزيد وهو رجل فاسق. Imam says, salams be to Islam. Goodbye to Islam. Imam says, goodbye to the Islam where people like Yazid become the Khalifas and the representatives of Rasulullah. Imam is now identifying a new thing for us. Imam is saying Hussein ibn Ali wants nothing to do with Islam. That Islam which Allah had said is the preferred religion for you. That Islam which Rasulullah exhausted his life in trying to bring to us. That Islam which Muhsin gave his life for, which Fatima al-Zahra gave her life for, Imam Ali gave his life for, Imam al-Hassan gave his life for, that Islam was the Islam that Allah had sealed on the day of Ghadir. Imam in the final days of Rajab year 60 Hijrah is saying goodbye to Islam. I want nothing to do with that Islam in which people like Yazid ascend the pulpit. Imam is now identifying a new breed of Islam that has emerged. A genetically modified Islam that was emerging. Imam is sending a message. He's saying, I, Hussein ibn Ali, will give my life to stand against this genetically modified Islam. And I will give my life to protect the Islam that was sealed in Ghadir. Therefore, we have two types of Islam which Imam is presenting in front of us. An Islam which has been diluted and genetically modified, and an Islam which was sealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Ghadir. And the journey of identifying which Islam is which is the challenge that we have in our day and age. Imam smelt the treacherous voice in words in the voice of Marwan, and he recognized that now neither my life nor the life of my children and family members is safe. And at that moment, Imam decided that it is time to leave Medina. In the darkness of night, Imam left Medina. That Medina, which potentially could have been a strong fortress for Imam. Muhammad ibn Hanafiya, when he came to bid farewell to Imam on his exit, he said to him, why do you not remain in Medina? You have strong followers here. These people have seen your relation with Rasulullah. Yazid would not dare attack Medina. Imam replied, he said, by Allah, it would be much more preferred to my heart to die a shibr away, inches away out of Medina, than to ruin the sanctity and the sanctity of this holy land of Medina, the graveyard of my Rasulullah, of my beloved grandfather. Imam chose to leave Medina. And on bidding him farewell, people like Ibn Abbas came and they bid farewell. And we famously have heard how he advised Imam not to leave with the family members. To which Imam replied that, "Oh Ibn Abbas, it is not me who wants to take them. I know the road is hard, the conditions are treacherous. It is they who do not wish to leave Hussein." Here Lady Zainab sent a message to Ibn Abbas, "Oh Ibn Abbas, are you trying to separate a sister from her brother?" No, by Allah. In the darkness of night, Imam alayhi salam, history tells us he goes to bid farewell to the graveyard of his grandfather. He embraces, he falls on the graveyard, and crying profusely, he falls asleep. In his dream, he sees Rasulullah. Rasulullah takes him into his arms, and they cry. And here Imam al-Hussein tells him, "Ya Rasulullah, look how the world has turned against your grandson. Ya Rasulullah, I do not wish to remain in this world. Take me with you in this grave." Rasulullah says to him, "O Hussein, there is a station that is reserved for you in the hereafter, which you can never attain except with martyrdom. O Hussein, time has now come to fulfill that promise of yours that you made to me." Imam wakes up and he says, "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un." He then goes to bid farewell to the grave of his mother Fatima. He falls and he cries profusely and he says, "Oh Mother Fatima, this is my final goodbye to you, and we shall meet now in the hereafter." Historians write that a voice is heard which says, "وَعَلَيْكَ السَّلَامُ يَا غَرِيبَ الْأُمْ يَا مَظْلُومَ الْأُمْ." And my salams be on you, O Hussein, O my beloved Hussein, O Gharib, one of your mother, O most oppressed one of your mother. Imam then goes and bids farewell to the grave of his brother Imam al-Hassan. Maybe at that time Imam remembered the final time with Imam al-Hassan when he saw the flesh of his body being vomited into that bucket, and he says, "Oh brother Hassan, who did this to you?" When Imam al-Hassan sees tears in the eyes of Imam al-Hussein, he wipes them and he says, "La yawmaka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah." "O Hussein, this is nothing. There is no day like your day, O Hussein." Imam then bids farewell to the various members of the Ahl al-Bayt. Imam bids farewell to the mothers of the Ummah, the wives of the Holy Prophet. Amongst them was Lady Salama. Salama asks him, "O son Hussein, which way are you planning to go?" He said, "I am planning to go towards Iraq." She says, "By Allah, do not cut the veins of my heart. But do not say that name, for I have heard your grandfather Rasulullah tell me that the blood of my son Hussein will be shed on the plains of Iraq." Imam shows the lady Salama. He says, "Look, O Salama." He unveils the land of Karbala. He says, "This is the spot where my Akbar will fall. This is the spot where I will fall. This is where Shimr will sit on my hair, on my chest." Then he takes a little bit of that soil of Karbala and he gives it in her hands and he says, "Mix this with the soil which my grandfather gave you, and know this, O Salama, when this soil turns into blood, understand that Hussein is no longer in this world." Imam then goes to bid his final farewells to a little girl of his who history says was in an ill state, and she would remain unconscious for most of the time. Imam sits near the head of Lady Fatima Sughra and he begins crying. When some droplets of his tears fall on her cheeks, she wakes up and she says, "Father Hussein, why have you come here?" He says, "Fatima, I have come to bid you farewell." Sughra says, "Oh Father Hussein, I will come with you as well." He says, "No Sughra, everyone can come. but you cannot accompany me. Why? Maybe she asked why, oh Father Hussein. In years down the line, a man came to Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. He says, oh Imam, there is a question that puzzles me. Oh Imam, did Imam al-Hussein not love all his children equally? Imam said, by Allah he did. He said, then why did he refuse to take Fatima al-Sughra with him? Imam Zain al-Abidin says, by Allah, you have asked a question that cuts the veins of the heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saw in the heart of Imam al-Hussein the love that he had for his grandfather Rasulullah and his mother Fatima and his father Ali. Allah gave him a few gifts. Among those gifts was a son who was the spitting image of his grandfather Rasulullah, and he gave him a daughter who was the spitting image of his mother Fatima al-Zahra alayha salam. He says, oh brother of Islam, listen, understand this. Hussein ibn Ali could tolerate to pull the spear from the chest of Ali Akbar. He could even tolerate to pick the pieces of the body of my cousin Qasim. He could even tolerate to pull the three-headed arrow that had pierced the neck of little Ali Asghar. He could even tolerate for his head to be severed and his body to be trampled. He was even willing to sacrifice the veil of my auntie Zainab. But there was one thing that Hussein ibn Ali could not tolerate, and that was to see the face of Fatima al-Zahra alayha salam paraded in the streets of Kufa and in the streets of Sham. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون. Please join me in reciting the salam for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Oh Allah, we ask you to hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time. اللهم أدخل على أهل القبور السرور. اللهم أغني كل فقير. اللهم أشبع كل جائع. اللهم اكس كل عريان. اللهم اقض دين كل مدين. اللهم فرج عن كل مكروب. اللهم رد كل غريب. اللهم فك كل أسير. اللهم أصلح كل فاسد من أمور المسلمين. اللهم اشف كل مريض. اللهم سد فقرنا بغناك. اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك. اللهم اقض عنا الدين وأغننا من الفقر إنك على كل شيء قدير.